A group of knights march on horseback through a hilly field towards the nearing mountain, brandishing their kingdom's banner. They are knights of the Aurea kingdom, led by their king to hunt down a dragon residing inside the mountain.
There it is!
They descend into the caverns using ropes and trudges through, while the dragon flies around and hides nearby. Before they can react, it flies in and breathes fire, killing most of the knights instantly. They are no match for its molten fire. The dragon then uses its tail to grab the survivors one by one, either throwing or stabbing them mercilessly, ending the lives of the whole group. Finally, she approaches the king, who falls to his knees in fear and utter defeat. Many centuries later, in a land far north of the Aurea kingdom, a young woman is working hard to split firewood with an axe. Her name is Elodie, and her younger sister Floria helps her out by collecting branches nearby. They talk about selling some of their personal items to help their people survive through the winter. Then, the sisters notice a carriage coming over and wonder who might want to travel this far into their cold, barren land. Elodie and Floria are daughters of the local lord. They return to their castle to find their father, Lord Bayford, and their stepmother, Lady Bayford, meeting with a priestess from another kingdom. The priestess approaches Elodie and says that she is an adequate suitor. She leaves after giving a letter to Lord Bayford, which he frantically opens and reads. Elodie, confused, demands to know what's going on. Lord Bayford tells Elodie that the royal family of Aurea wants her to marry their prince, Henry. At first, Elodie doesn't want to go and marry someone for political benefits, but her father explains that the marriage will bring enough gold to save their people from the frozen famine. Wanting to help her subjects, Elodie hesitantly agrees to the deal. The family sets sail for Aurea, and as they get close, Lady Bayford reminds her stepdaughters to maintain a good first impression when they meet the royals later. The ship enters a thick, creepy mist. They see two giant dragon statues in the water, further emphasizing the dread in Elodie's stomach. However, just past the mist lies a beautiful, prosperous kingdom. Through Aurea's lush green hills, the Bayfords ride a carriage towards its gilded palace. Upon arrival, they are greeted by the kingdom's advisor, as he explains that the royal family is at prayer. They're escorted to their prepared chambers as the girls gape in awe of the palace's grandeur. After her family leaves her room, she goes to the balcony and sees another young lady standing on her own balcony. That night, Elodie can't sleep, so she indulges in her hobby of drawing mazes. She decides to get some fresh air on the balcony and sees that the young lady's room is dark and the balcony door is left open. Elodie also sees torches moving up a mountain in the middle of the night, which makes her curious. The next day, the Bayfords finally meet Aurea's royal family. Despite praising Elodie for her beauty and wit, Queen Isabel is very proud and cold. She sends Elodie to spend time with Prince Henry while she and Lord Bayford discuss the wedding's matters in private. Although they're both a bit nervous at first, Elodie and Henry start to bond over horseback riding and also their shared dream of traveling the world. She seems to be softening up to the prospect of marrying the prince. Elodie asks about the torches she saw last night, and Henry explains it is an ancient ceremony to honor their ancestors. While the young couple talks, Lord Bayford finishes his discussion with Queen Isabel. He looks very upset afterward, which is pointed out by his wife. He insists that he's fine, even resorting to aggression when Lady Bayford doesn't believe him. So she tries to talk to the queen, hoping they can become closer as their families will be joined by marriage soon. But Isabel is very rude. She reminds Lady Bayford of her status as she is only the daughter of a rope maker and doesn't have royal blood. Isabel makes it clear that this marriage is merely a transaction, trading Elodie as a bride for some money to sustain the Bayford land. She doesn't even bother to learn Elodie's name, calling her Eloise instead. Feeling that something is wrong with the royal family's intentions, Lady Bayford warns Elodie that they should cancel the wedding. Elodie and Floria are confused by their stepmother's sudden change of heart, but Lord Bayford's arrival stops the conversation and sends everyone to bed. The next morning, the wedding takes place. Elodie is given a beautiful dress that includes many beautiful jewelry, a blunt dagger, and a perfume diffuser. The ceremony is attended by their families and some of Aurea's subjects, but it's small for a royal wedding. It thankfully goes well, and the couple exchange rings and a kiss. Afterwards, before leaving with Henry, Elodie says goodbye to her family. The newlyweds go up the mountain for an ancient ritual that they must partake in. They reach a cave where people are wearing creepy golden masks. There, Queen Isabel hands Elodie a gold coin and tells a story about how their ancestors made a deal with a dragon to protect the kingdom. 3 princesses are to be sacrificed so that the king may live and they may share Aurea's land in peace. She then performs a ritual where she cuts both Elodie's and Henry's palms. She presses their hands together so their blood mixes, announcing that Elodie now now has royal blood. After throwing the coin into the chasm as instructed, Elodie thinks the ceremony is over, but then Henry picks her up to carry her across a stone bridge. Suddenly, he apologizes and throws her off the bridge into a deep, dark abyss. Elodie falls, hitting branches before landing in a mud puddle and losing her consciousness. When she wakes up, she is covered in bruises and starts screaming for help. Her voice wakes up the dragon sleeping deep in the cave. Elodie realizes she has been sacrificed and angrily tears off her jewelry. She tries to climb out, but the walls are too slippery and she falls back down. On the ground, she sees the scattered belongings of many other girls who were sacrificed before her. Elodie decides to venture further into the chasm to find a way out. She notices a flickering light and finds a small bird on fire. She tries to save it with dirt, but it dies. Suddenly, thousands of burning birds fly toward her, crashing into the stalagmites before dropping dead. Terrified, Elodie hears a low growl. A giant claw slides across the rock face. She makes an attempt to hide, but then the dragon asks for her name.
Speak your name.
She answers, and then the dragon tells her to run. Elodie immediately takes off just before it sprays molten fire in her direction. She barely escapes into the small cave, but her leg is badly burned. The dragon speaks to her.
A clever one. Did I hurt you? The last one was over so quick.
Elodie realizes the ceremony where they mixed her blood with Henry's was just a trick to make the dragon think she was a royal. Inside the small cave, Elodie uses her dagger to cut her dress and bandage her wound. She uses the flames on the ground to light her portable lamp and begins searching for a way out. She finds a narrow passage and has to crawl through it. Her dress keeps getting stuck until she frees herself from it, and at one point, she falls and loses her light. She continues walking in the dark until she sees a patch of glowing trees. However, there's a cliff separating her and the trees. She throws her wedding ring into the abyss, gathers her courage, and leaps. She slips, but uses her dagger to anchor herself and climb up. And at the top, she finds glowing insects crawling on the trees. She puts them inside her torn sleeve to create a new lantern. She finds a small puddle and tries to drink, but it's contaminated with smelly goo. Elodie looks up to catch drops of water from melting icicles above to drink. Suddenly, the dragon tries to break through the ice with fire, and Elodie narrowly escapes into another small tunnel. In this new hiding spot, she sees a message saying, "Safe here, she cannot reach," signed by the initials V. The she V wrote refers to the dragon, who is a female. Walking deeper in the safe spot, Elodie also sees names carved into the walls like Victoria and Beatrice. These were the girls who came before her, all victims to the royal family's trickery. Elodie falls asleep while having a fever from her burns. In her dream, she sees the other girls, including Victoria, who says that it's all a lie. Elodie wakes up, finding the glowing insects covering her burned leg. She realizes the insects have healing powers because her burn is completely gone. She also finds a map carved into the wall by one of the previous victims. She follows the map through the tunnels, eventually finding an upward passage covered in glowing crystals. She uses V's discarded crown as a hook and wraps her hands and feet in cloth to climb the sharp crystals. The dragon is right behind her, but she manages to reach the top. Excitedly, she reaches the exit, but her hope is crushed when she realizes it opens up to the side of the mountain, way up high, with no way down. She sees people in the distance and shouts for help, but they are too far away. The dragon hears her shouts and comes at her from outside of the mountain. Elodie retreats back into the cave and accepts her fate to be burned by dragonfire. Just before the flames erupt, they both hear a man calling out Elodie's name, and the dragon stops to investigate. It is Lord Bayford, who has come to rescue her with some knights. As Elodie searches for him, she finds a nest with the skeletons of 3 baby dragons. She realizes the legend she was told was a lie. The Orion King in the legend was the one who started the violence by killing the dragon's babies unprovoked. After his knights were all killed, the king begged for the dragon's mercy to spare his life. The dragon spared him, but enraged by the loss of her children, the mother dragon forced the king into a deal. It demands that he sacrifice his 3 daughters so he can feel the same pain she feels when losing loved ones. Then, 3 daughters from every generation must be sacrificed to keep the peace until the dragon's death. The dragon finds Lord Bayford and his men first. It kills the knights easily, crushing one and dropping another from a great height. It then captures Lord Bayford, who begs for mercy and forgiveness to the dragon. The dragon says that it's Elodie that he should be asking forgiveness from, whom he had knowingly sacrificed. It demands he call for his daughter. Lord Bayford full of regret, tells Elodie not to come out and apologizes for what he did. In a rage, the dragon stabs him through the chest with a claw. Elodie screams in pain, which gives away her position. While the dragon is distracted by another man trying to escape, Elodie rushes to her father's side. With his last breath, he tells her to escape. Elodie uses the rope the men brought to climb out of the cave, just as the dragon's flames reach her. She jumps on her father's horse and gallops away. The dragon chases her, but Elodie is clever. She jumps off the horse and hides under some rocks, letting the horse continue running. The dragon, thinking she is still on the horse, chases it down and incinerates it after realizing that Elodie is gone. In her fury, the dragon breathes fire all over the mountain, turning it into a fiery inferno. Back at the castle, Queen Isabel sees the fire and realizes the sacrifice failed. She immediately orders her soldiers to kidnap Elodie's younger sister, Floria, to be the new sacrifice. When the Orient Knights come to kidnap Floria, Lady Bayford tries to stop them but is stabbed in the stomach by one of the knights. The next morning, Elodie wakes up under the rocks. She encounters Lady Bayford, who tells her that Floria has been taken. Knowing her sister is in danger, Elodie mounts a horse and races back to the mountain. Meanwhile, the queen forces her son to do the ritual again with Floria, but he refuses because she's still too young. Queen Isabel does the ritual herself, calling the prince weak. By the time Elodie gets to the stone bridge, Floria has already been thrown into the pit. The dragon hasn't killed Floria yet, using her as bait to lure Elodie back. Elodie descends into the cave again using a rope. She finds her father's armor and weapons and sets a trap. She uses a timed device to make a noise, distracting the dragon so she can reach her sister. As they try to leave, the dragon returns. Elodie shouts at the dragon, telling her that they have all been deceived and that the royal family has been tricking her for centuries. She explains that her blood isn't royal and that the royals mixed their blood with the girl's blood during the wedding. The dragon refuses to believe her and attacks. Elodie uses her father's sword to fight back, but the dragon is too strong, pinning her down and stabs her side with a claw. In desperation, Elodie pulls a dagger from her chest and stabs the dragon in the eye. Roaring in pain, the dragon hurls her away. Elodie notices a curved rock wall nearby and gets an idea. She stands in front of it and provokes the dragon, feigning rageful acceptance of her fated death and daring it to use its fire. Enraged, the dragon breathes a massive blast of fire. Elodie dives out of the way at the last second. The flames hit the curved wall and bounce back, hitting the dragon and causing it to collapse. Badly burned, Elodie approaches the weakened dragon with her sword, but doesn't kill it. Instead, she shows the dragon her scarred palm, proving how the royal family mixed their blood to trick the beast. She tells the dragon that it has been killing innocent girls just like the royals it hates. Instead of taking revenge, Elodie shows compassion. She takes out her remaining healing insects and uses them to treat the dragon's burns and injuries. By doing this, she ends the cycle of hatred and earns the dragon's trust. The next day, back at the castle, Prince Henry is about to marry another new bride for the third and last sacrifice of the generation. The ceremony is interrupted when Elodie walks in, covered in soot and blood. She tells the new bride to take her family and run away. She gives the guests a chance to leave, but Queen Isabel and the other royals mock her for standing up to the royals all alone. Suddenly, the dragon descends from the sky. It unleashes its fiery wrath on the castle, incinerating the entire royal bloodline and their palace along with them. The prince accepts his fate, knowing he deserves it. The castle crumbles into flames as the dragon destroys the source of all the lies and death. After the commotion dies down, Elodie, Floria, and Lady Bayford are walking to their ship. Elodie wants her stepmother to run their land together with her, a testament of their deepened bond and trust. They head back to their home, the ship loaded with gold and supplies to help their people. As they sail across the sea, the dragon flies alongside the ship, now a companion and ally to Elodie.